Hello, good evening, um, everybody. Tonight we have Jeff on, Jeff um,
Kolesnikov.
Koalasandwich. Okay, thank you, thank you, Jeff. But we have Jeff on tonight, to talk about his personal experience going through, um, parental alienation. Some of the challenges that he faced, and also give us. An opportunity to learn something new that he's doing, something that got him onto a better path, I believe. And Jeff seemed to be doing very well based on some decisions that he made in life to try something different as a way of getting his mind off some of the situations that he was faced with. Um, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I truly appreciate this. I know you had posted a very long message on Facebook, with uh, the desire to train other fathers that are going through the same thing that you and I went through. And I truly appreciate that. That's very generous of you to do that. Very gracious. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Um, so just to get us, you know, to know you more, Jeff, do you want to sort of, share more about yourself? Like, let us get to know you a little bit.
Certainly. First of all, thank you for having me on here. I know when I was going through the worst of my divorce, I felt really alone. And it's nobody was talking about anything like this. And I had no idea if what I was going through was normal.
Hmm.
And it just, the whole thing seemed like this storm that ripped through my life. And then I'm just
Hmm.
kind of, I was, after it tore up my life, I just kind of sat there bewildered, not sure what happened and why and where it was leaving me. So
Hmm.
it's conversations like this that I think really help other men understand, well, other people going through um, a divorce, what's going on, and um, how to survive it. So, um, about my story, um, I'll talk a bit about my story and what I went through. Um, so, I went through a divorce. It doesn't matter why we went through the divorce. Um, it wasn't, we weren't compatible for each other. Doesn't matter. Um, but I left her, and um, things seemed all right for about a year afterwards, and we just kind of muddled through. But then one day, all of a sudden, I remember getting a knock on the door, and I had a letter from her lawyer, and I all of a sudden we had lawyers involved. So, as you know, as soon as you get lawyers involved, things get way more expensive and way more complicated. Now, we didn't have all that much. Um, we didn't have all that much stuff. We were, kind of scraping by. So I was confused about what we were going to fight about. But what I think happened was I had started to get my feet underneath me, and I had gotten a house and a new car, and I think she saw those things as success, and she got angry. And I mean, this is me kind of projecting these thoughts, but um, she got angry and wanted to. win. So anyway, we went through a pretty miserable divorce. We went through 2 rounds of it, even. Um, and I remember we tried everything. We tried not counseling, mediation. That didn't work. She walked away from mediation and then hired this lawyer who was um, very aggressive. And it was clear it was more about winning than anything else. To back up a bit, we had 2 kids. They were pretty young at the time. But now, there was, to me, that was the most important thing. And I didn't care so much about the money in the house or anything like that. But, that was the most important thing. And going through it, I tried for 50-50 access and just kept getting denied. And finally, things went in front of a judge, and the judge seemed more concerned that I was paying enough child support rather than being concerned that I was seeing my kids. We went, so, lawyers being lawyers, we went to a, I forget the term, one of those people who assess each house and, makes recommendations. And I forget the term of what they're called. But he didn't like me for whatever reason and decided to punish me. So I'm sure, as everybody knows, the magic number is 40%. So 40% of the time with your kids is the magic number, and you're a part-time parent and all that. And this guy wanted to cut me under 40%. Anyway, so that was his recommendation. Anyway, we eventually, actually, let me back up. There was a summer where we disagreed about how much money I should pay. And my ex-wife took my kids away from me for the summer because I wasn't paying enough child support. So we had to go back in front of a judge, and he ordered the kids to be back with me on a regular basis again. Anyway, all of this, we went in front of a judge, and we had all kinds of posturing. We ended up going to court, and the end result was that I was to have the kids 48% of the time. It could not be 50-50. My ex-wife was going to fight me on that, and I had to pay child support because, I don't know, we made the same amount of money, but the courts insisted that I pay child support, so I did. Anyway, through all of this, I struggled very hard with mental health. I was angry at my ex-wife all of the time. I would just be depressed and angry at myself for letting myself get in that position. And I couldn't have been a joy to be around in those days. I remember, and I'm not proud of this, but yelling at my kids, just the amount of stress that I lived under was so incredible. I always felt like I was going to lose them at some point. Round one of court ended, and things did not improve between her and I. She would just mess around with things. I remember she would come and pick up the kids during my visitation time and withhold them from me. And she refused to pay things that were clearly in the agreement, and it was just a miserable time. And that lasted probably about 2 years, and then I finally took her back to court to try and get things settled a bit more. That took another year, and I don't even know how much money, another $100,000 at least. And we ended up settling again. And of course, I had to pay more money, more child support. And my time with my kids did not decrease, even though she tried to have it reduced. And we ended up getting a parenting coordinator who's helped incredibly, because anytime we disagree on something, we can call up the parenting coordinator and she will help us out. Now, I've made a few mentions of child support. I have no objection to paying my share of child support, but I'm paying well over what I should be paying, and it always seemed like the courts and the lawyers were more concerned about paying a certain amount that wasn't really tied to any reality. There was always these mentions of offset child support, which, whatever, a couple $100 a month, but it was always demanded that I pay more than that. Anyway, that's it is what it is. Throughout all of this process, my goal was not to, was to come out of it as unscathed as possible. And when I was going through the worst of it, I remember looking at my ex-wife, and my ex-wife used to play a victim. And she would always say that, she didn't have enough money, or that I was abusive, like verbally and emotionally, and I went as low contact as possible because I couldn't handle hearing those complaints. And I remember seeing my phone, and she'd be calling, and I'd be like just so angry at it that I just wouldn't answer it. I decided while I was going through things that I was not going to be a victim, that I was going to use this experience to better myself. I wanted to come out of it. If I was spending, upwards of $100,000, I was going to get $100,000 worth of education out of this. I had let my ex-wife, manipulate me through my emotions, and I was determined that once I came through this, I was not going to be emotionally manipulable. I was not going to allow her to manipulate me by my emotions any longer. So it's been 3 years now since our last court go around the courts, and things have improved. I no longer get angry. I'm a lot more successful, and I owe all of that to really owning my emotions and focusing on what I could control. I could not control what happened in court. I could not control what a judge said. I could not control what my ex-wife did or what her lawyer would say to me, but I could control my reaction to it. And so I remember thinking, if they were going to treat me like I'm an ATM, then I'm going to become the best ATM I can be. And I was going to go earn a ton of money. And um, if somebody wanted to try to manipulate me emotionally, I was going to become really good at controlling my emotions. And I was going to not just control my emotions as well as I could. I was going to take all of the anger, all of the, not anger, all of the energy that I had spent putting into court, and I was going to put it into myself, and I was going to emerge out of this much better than how I had gone in. And to that degree, I have. When I was at the worst of it, I was a programmer. All right, I still am, I guess. And one of the few places I could retreat to was programming. I'd put my headphones on, put music on, and I'd disappear into my own little world of programming, and everything was very logical. Everything made sense when I was programming. And I could earn good money programming. So that's what I focused on. I focused on improving my career, getting ahead in my career, and improving myself as much as possible. I'll pause there. I've kind of rambled for a few minutes. Let me know what I missed and what questions you have for me.
You are mentioning your post about being able to make it to the other side.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What is this other side that you were able to manage to get to?
Like I mentioned, the other side is, I have a decent relationship with my ex now. You know what it is. I don't feel like I'm scared of losing my kids anymore. I feel like I've made a great contribution to their lives, and they can't and won't be taken away from me now. Even if they were to, I wasn't ever going to see them again, which isn't likely. I've been a father to them. I've been the best father I can to them. And, I can see myself in them. So that alone has helped me relax, and and also I'm getting to the end of things. Like, my kids are 13 and 15. They're going to be 18 soon. They're going to be adults. They're going to be off on their own. They're going to be able to make their own decisions. So I don't have to worry about that. The other part of that is, like I mentioned before, I've gotten really good at controlling my emotions, staying calm in these, when you go through something difficult like a divorce, you don't come through it unchanged. You come through a different person, and you can choose how you want to come out of it. You can choose, you can come out of it as a victim, like, I went through this and this is the worst, and life is awful now. Or you can choose to come through it like, I'm going to learn something and I'm going to be the best me I can become. So I remember choosing one day. I was at a really low point, and I was like, "Is this how I want to live the rest of my life?" No. And I made that conscious decision to fight as hard as I could, and you know, I was in a low place mentally. I'd been told what a piece of garbage I was, and I'd had my kids withheld from me, and I'd been treated like an ATM, not like a human being. And um, I decided I was going to show them, and I did.
Mm. Wow. How how did you manage? I mean, one of the most difficult things for parents going through this. I've had many success stories where some parents are able to build some cordial relationships, for the sake of the children, and for some it continues to be a very bitter fight. You know, how did you get to that place after all the false accusations that you experienced, the fact that you were being alienated? How did you get to that point of, you know, being able to develop, some sort of normal cordial relationship with your ex-wife?
Um, Very, very, very slowly. I I don't think things are never going to be at a place where we can be friends.
Mm.
But I think of it as being professional. You might go to your job, you might not like somebody at your job, but you got to work with them. So, well, yeah, there's a couple parts to this. Being professional is one of them. We have a job to do. We have to raise the kids together. So I might not like her personally, but we have a job to do, and I'm going to do the best job with her that I can. So that's one. Um, Number two, isn't there that old saying that, what is it? Poison? No. Um, Anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Mm. Mm.
Uh, I probably have that wrong, but yeah, you can't hold on to these things. I think I wha- kids need their fathers. They need both of their parents. And when somebody takes your kids away from you, that's their decision. That's not your decision. You want to be there for your kids. What I realized is that she has to live with that consequence. I've done the best I can, and I am there and I am ready for my kids. And if she wants to decide to take my kids away from me, that's her decision. And she is the one who's going to have to live with that and the consequences of it. So, I do the best I can, and then I see what happens.
Oh, how did you cope with the mental health issue that you had mentioned before? Because there are many, there are many dads on most of the platforms that you and I are on, that are going through very similar situations. Some just can't, take it further down the road. And for some, we try and tough it up, right?
Hmm.
To make the best that we can make out of it. How did you manage with it, and how did you get out of that situation?
Um, it was a really conscious decision that I didn't want to live this way, and this might not be a satisfying answer to a lot of people, but I decided I wasn't going to live that way, and I needed to change it. And the way I changed it was, and it was really hard. These are not easy things that I'm saying, but um, I tried to. Um, the more you put yourself, the more you put out, the more you get back. So the better a father I am, the more I got back in satisfaction. The more I gave, the more I got back. So, it was as simple as getting pets, and that's how things started. And I had a cat, and I had a dog, and I would just get up and take the dog for a walk. Really simple things, and even the cat would come for a walk, and just really simple stuff, just going for a walk around the block. And then I was giving to those animals, like the dog wanted to go for a walk, dying to go for a walk. So I would give the dog just a walk, and I saw how happy it made her, and I got that bit of joy back. So then my oldest told me when he was younger, I want to play hockey. I want to play in the NHL. Okay, great. Let's go do this. So, I took him, I would drive him he made it into rep, and, he was on the ice 5, 6 days a week, and sometimes, 6 in the morning, and I would drive him, and I would give as much as I could. And I saw him improve, and that helped me. And then at work, I managed teams, and it gave me a lot of joy to help people improve their careers. They would learn something new, and they would go, I could see them leveling up, and that really gave me a lot of joy. And I had a new partner, and I, not worked with her. We deepened our relationship as much as possible, and that was, really hard after going through such a miserable divorce, because it took a lot of time to be able to trust again. But you make this progress, and you give of yourself, and you get back. So, and it was really hard some days. Some days I didn't even want to say, like, thank you, but you give, and you push yourself to give as much as you can, and all of that comes back, and you eventually come out of it.
Wow. Wow. And you had posted in the same post, Jeff. You said that you were looking for people who want to learn programming.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I was programming, I was able to disappear into another world. And programming is, you said that you did a bit of programming when you were younger, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate to this, but you get in that programming headspace, and it's a very logical world, and things are very black and white. And that was a lot simpler than when I was going through divorce, because you had all these emotions, and the stress, and you weren't sure which way to go, and you were just in this fog. And programming became like this safe haven, because I didn't I, things could be really clear, and you just you sat down, you had the blinders on, you had it was just you and your computer screen. You can have headphones on, listen to music, and you just focus, and the whole world falls away. So I got, a lot of joy out of that. So I thought, how can I give back? And I recently, so I'm a fractional CTO, and what that means is I'm a part-time CTO for companies, and I do part-time leadership for companies who can't afford or don't have the need for a full-time CTO. CTO is a chief technology officer, so somebody to manage teams. And I had a contract end recently, and I thought, well, how can I give back? And I've always had this idea in the back of my head around helping men who are going through this sort of thing, um, helping them get through it, and um, helping them level up. So I thought, I had this place I could retreat to when I was at my worst, and maybe I can give that to somebody as well. So the idea is learn to program. I'll help you learn to program. I'll put you in a team. I have 2 guys right now. We're meeting 3 times a week, and we're building a project. Nothing earth shattering, but the idea is we're going to learn a bit of programming. We're going to work as a team, and we're going to build something. You're going to get some experience. You're going to get some experience programming. You're going to get some experience working in a team, and maybe you can take that and apply for a job one day.
How do people sign on to this?
So
this initiative?
I've got a website up, dropindevelopment.org, and the idea is you just want to check it out, or you want to learn how to program, so you can drop into the program, and we'll build something together. So I've got on that website, I've got a contact form. Just shoot me a message, and we can get together. We got a Slack channel that's where we're chatting, and that's how we're working and collaborating. And then we meet over Zoom a couple times a week.
How difficult is it to learn? I mean, for somebody here in programming, some may become very excited about it, and for some it may seem to be a nightmare. Like, how comfortable, how easy it is for people to just sign on and just pick it up, and run with it.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. It's maybe not the easiest thing to learn, but if you are dedicated to it, you should be able to learn it in a couple months. It's not, you should have some inclination towards computers to begin with. But with that said, if you know what you're doing in terms of computers and you have an interest in programming, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to pick it up.
So, what language? Would it be PHP or C or Java?
We're learning
specific.
Well, I let the team decide. Not let, but the team decided, and they're going to be learning. Well, not learning, but they're going to be building a Node.js application. The first thing we're building is an online tic-tac-toe program. So 2 people are going to be able to log into a browser, and the game will match them, and then they'll write the code around that, and they'll be able to play tic-tac-toe across online. And it might sound basic, but that's the idea. You're going to start programming something straightforward, but you're going to get some experience. You're going to build a portfolio. You're going to learn to work with a team. You're going to get some real world experience building something. A lot of people, I've done a lot of hiring over the years, and a lot of times developers come into jobs and all they have is some experience either in a going through school or going through a boot camp, and they don't have real world experience, and that's different um, a whole different world. When I was in university, I worked for this small company, and I found that I got this experience that my peers didn't, and I was able to program, maybe not a lot better, but I had that experience, that real world experience to draw from, whereas most of my peers didn't. So if we can give that real world experience to other people, um, they'll be that much further ahead.
And how much time, you know, do they have to commit on a weekly basis? Like
It's
what's the
up to
frequency?
them. It's up to them. Like I said, we've got 3 half-hour meetings a week. But the more time you spend on it, the more you'll learn.
Mm.
So we set some goals each time we meet, and if somebody really wants to put a lot of time into it, they can really accelerate.
Wow. Um, I'm just thinking through, that whole process of just signing on. Um, is it like an initiative that is open to everybody, or just limited to parents that are going through, you know, divorce and separations and things like that?
Um, no, the 2 people I have are actually university kids.
Okay.
So it's open to anybody. I just thought when I posted it in the Facebook group, I forget which Facebook group I posted it in, but it's I just thought there's got to be some guy going through a horrible divorce like I went through, and he needs a lifeline. He needs some help. He needs somebody to reach out and um, give him something else to focus on rather than sitting on his couch in his head the whole time thinking, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And if you have something else to focus on, a lot of the time you can um, get out of that mindset and improve.
And honestly, I'm very happy we are, talking about this, because um, going through this, if like yourself and the experience you had, if you are not very careful, it becomes a mental issue, because it's so easy to, quit your job. It's so easy to just give up on everything. To just stay home and think, and that whole process of staying in one place and just thinking about what is happening to you, why me, thinking about the kids, and a lot of time I think what hits a lot of people is the fact that they are not able to see their children, and two, the false accusations.
Yep.
Um, those are two powerful weapons that a lot of these people know that they can use that against anybody, and it works. Um, and if you're not very careful, you can easily lose your mind. You can easily lose your mind. I was sharing with you how it got to a point where I had to just go and learn trade,
Hmm.
uh, and it helped. Honestly, it helped so much, get my mind off a lot of things. And it wasn't something I wanted to do to get by, but I truly enjoyed it. I'm very hands-on, so I enjoyed doing that, and that in itself was like a therapy.
Hmm.
It was like a therapy because you're just focused on one thing and not thinking about all the things that, You know, things that you can change. You know,
All you can
you know,
change is your reaction to it. You
your
can't change
reaction to
the
it.
situation.
Yeah, and controlling your emotions as well.
Yep.
Those two are in your power.
Yep.
Uh,
Absolutely.
you know, to control and to change. But everything else that somebody will accuse you of, or you know, withholding your children from seeing you, those things you cannot control. Even the police, you know, you can go to the police. From experience, you can, you know, go to the police all you want. They all they can tell you is that as long as it's not enforceable by police, there's nothing they can do, right? So I'm very happy that you've taken on this you know, this initiative to help, you know, other parents that are you know, struggling. Now, how much is this you know, program? Um,
Oh, nothing. I don't. I don't. I'm not in it for money. I just. Like I said, I've got spare time. I really believe in giving back. So whenever this to me is giving back, like I'm helping somebody level themselves up, and
mhm,
that's I don't mean to be cliche or cheesy, but that's its own reward.
mhm,
It's like I said, when I was at my worst, just something as simple as taking the dog for a walk really helped. And it was because I was giving something to somebody else or something else in that case. So let's maybe I'm being selfish here because I'm getting to see somebody else grow and level up. That's what I get out of it.
mhm, mhm. But I also think it's you know, like giving back in itself is some level of satisfaction that you get.
Hmm.
Um, you know, because you know what other people are going through, what other parents are going through. You've been there. You know, you've seen the dark side of
Hmm.
this process. You've seen the dark side of being in court, and you know, things being thrown at you that
Hmm.
you have no control whatsoever
Yep.
over. And you know, so you know, you've seen it all. Um, and I think being able to do this, you know, goes a long way to sort of define, um, you know, who you are, right?
Hmm.
As a good, you know, as a good man, because you are thinking about trying to lift somebody up from where they are, and where they are can potentially, you know, destroy their lives for good, right? And I think it's a very, you know, very generous thing that you know, you've taken on to do to help, you know, other parents. It's a blessing um, in itself.
That's kind of
Um,
you to say. It's I again, I'm going to say I'm being a little selfish because I'm getting something out of it too. So I genuinely get to see. I really get a lot of joy helping people. And I think it's more valuable than if I could snap my fingers and fix everybody's parental issues. Um, Sometimes that's not what we need. We need to go out and learn to fight for ourselves.
mhm,
And
mhm,
I know that's what I needed. Um, so hopefully, this is giving will give somebody
mhm.
somebody is um, getting another tool that they can learn to fight for themselves and um, do a bit better.
Mhm. Yeah, I have some comments that are coming through Facebook, and this is one thing that somebody posted. Monetary is a different reward. Both are necessary depending on your direction. Giving feels better than getting.
100%.
And I agree. I agree with that statement. I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's just because you know I've been there, um, and you know I want to be able to get other dads to speak out because being able to talk about the past, that dark side. I strongly believe that it's a healing process.
Hmm.
It heals to sort of get to that place where you will freely speak out without thinking about what people say about you or what people think about you. Those things just don't move me, and I actually don't care. Uh, what matters is to be able to provide that platform where other parents can have that comfort level to, to freely, talk about what they've been through. And believe me, Jeff, there's somebody somewhere else that is most likely listening to us and also trying to make a decision as to what to do. And just by your story, they're able to come to a conclusion where, like you know what, let me think about myself, where I want to be in the future. I want to be a better person for my kids. At the end of
Hmm.
the day, it comes down to the children.
100%.
Right? It comes because these kids are looking up to us. They are looking up to us. They want to see us as good role models that they can sort of fall back on our experiences if they need it. So most of the time, giving back to our community is beyond money. Um, it's just the satisfaction, the joy that comes out of being able to help lift somebody up from a very difficult state of mind. Uh, you know, which I think it's joy. Being
Don't
able
get
to
me
support.
wrong. Money is absolutely important. I'm not
Oh yes, I
saying
agree with
it's
you.
not.
Yes.
You should be rewarded for the effort you put in. Um, in this case, I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for a different kind of satisfaction, and
Mhm,
that's the value I'm getting. So,
mhm,
um, but money is very important. Programming is giving me a very good life. I have a nice house now. I drive a nice car. I go on nice vacations. I'm going on a vacation next week.
Sweet.
So it's money is okay, but it's very important. Um, I'm just saying that I want to give back in a different way. That's not where I'm not getting money for it.
Yeah. So Jeff, is this something that somebody can learn and become a freelancer?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the guys I'm working with wants to become a freelancer, but he needs a portfolio, and in order to get a portfolio, you got to do some real work. So we're going to build something real, and it's just a tic tac toe game, but it's a starting
Hmm.
point.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
build that, and then
And
you build the next thing, and you build the next thing, and suddenly you've got a portfolio.
mhm. So what kind of like applications can you build? Is this something that you can use to build like an app? Or I see a lot of people on Fiverr with a lot of the skills. Um, is it something you can use to build exciting things that can generate some sort of revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're building more on the web side of things. I haven't done a lot of mobile app development. That's not to say you can't, but we're more on the website. Um, but you can build all kinds of web application type stuff. I've made a good living off of it for the last 20 years, so
Wow.
it's going to be around for a long time.
Mm, mm, mm. And I think I had asked this question prior, but is there like a list of programming languages that you are going to teach, or just specific ones that you feel is just needed at this point in time?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm making this up as I go along. um, we just decided, like I said, we decided to go Node.js, and I forget what we're going to use on the other side on the front end. Express, Node.js, and Express, and those are really popular languages. So a Node.js developer should be able to get lots of work. Um, but it depends on the project. We're gonna do this project. We'll finish it, and then we'll take a look at what we want to build next, or if we even want to build something else next. But the idea is real world experience from building things.
Well, I'm very excited about this. I wish I will have the time myself, but it sounds very exciting. Being able to build something to to know that, yeah, this is what I did. I think it's cool. Um,
It's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun doing it.
so just last few questions. Um, with your custody issue, I guess it's all settled now. You guys are completely, done with the courts, uh, and not going back.
We,
Okay.
um, yeah, we're okay right now. I imagine at some point somebody gets child support, and when the kids turn at age, I worry that there's going to be some issue around that. I don't know what that looks like, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. But yeah, the custody issues are more or less taken care of. We have, like I said, we have a parenting coordinator who helps us out with difficult parenting decisions, or not difficult decisions, but when one says one thing and the other says another, how do you settle it? You use a parenting coordinator. So that's helped out immensely.
One thing I don't understand though is you pretty much have a shared parenting plan,
Yep.
right? 48%. You know, you pretty much. I don't understand why you should be paying, um, you know, child support. The system is messed up.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, 48%, just 2% shy, and they still come after you.
It's
It's insane.
our agreement is rather complicated with the days I have the kids is rather complicated, but and maybe I'm off on the 48, maybe it's 46, but there's 8 different days. She has them 8 more days a year than I have them. And like
Okay.
at that point, who cares?
Yeah,
Does it really matter? Um, but yeah, I've got to pay child support. It is what it is.
yeah. And I think the most important thing is, being able to play an active role, in the lives of, children. I mean, being able to take them to, to hockey games, and all that. I think, the kids need more of that than, uh, than the, disagreements that exist between both parents. And I truly appreciate you sharing that. That was such a very powerful story.
The kids need me in their lives more than they need that $1,000 or whatever the child support amount is. So I, if I, 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 I'm not sure what I was going to say, but it's very important that I'm in their lives, and it has been over the last few years. I've been working out the last few years, and actually that helped me a lot too. That's one more thing that really helped me, lifting weights and just um, I used to play a lot of squash and hitting the ball just you hit the ball and I would like put all the anger I felt into hitting the ball. Anyway, I'm still lifting weights, and the last few months, my oldest decided he wanted to get jacked, and so we've been going outside, and I've got a mini gym in my garage, and we've been lifting weights together, and all of a sudden I look at him and he's rippling muscles. He's a
Wow.
15-year-old. He's got like these big arms, and it's gratifying to see that he's on that good path, and he's going the right way. He's putting in the work, and he's seeing the reward. And I have to think that I played a part in that.
Yeah. One of the things that and I'm very happy that you were on today. Is and that's one thing that I'm aggressively doing is to promote shared parenting.
Hmm.
Uh, across the country, because I strongly believe, and there are many advocates as well that sharing the same belief that that's the best for kids. Uh, it works out very well for parents as well. For some reason, it just it's hard to understand that some parents usually will not consent to a shared parenting plan. But I think that's the best for I think that's the best for kids. And I keep encouraging people. We have Paulette McDonald who is on, and I keep reaching out to people. Just reach out to her, and she'll be able to connect you to write to your MPs. For them to realize that this is a real issue. It's a pandemic, right? Until we openly speak out, nobody knows what we are going through. Like I said, men tend to internalize everything.
We do.
But when we begin to speak out, when we begin to be loud, I think that would change. That would change things for many, many, many parents. Um, and so, for those that are watching, if you are in Canada, by all means, we need every every hands on deck to make this happen. The voices makes a difference. Um, you know, um, so Jeff, any final words to the audience? Any final words? Any final thoughts of encouragement that you want to give to our audience? As to, I like the fact that you were there, you got out of it, and you're doing much better, right? Um, Anything you want to share with the audience?
Something that really helped me, um, when it was again when I was at my worst, was I would keep telling myself that this too shall pass. Um, it might sound, it might sound trite, but everything passes. It's it will get better. You're in the worst of it right now, but it will get better, and you'll get through it.
Jeff, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm gonna think I have your email address, and I think I still have the post. I'm gonna put it on the Das Matter 2 group page, and advertise for for people that will be interested to sign on. I think it's a very good initiative that you're offering to parents that need some form of you know distraction, if I may say. But I think it's a very good initiative. It pays off, and this can be a second job. If if you have a primary job, this can be a second job. Can be a different stream of income that goes a long way. To make a difference. Thank you so much for your time. And if you can stay on for a few minutes, Jeff, I will truly appreciate that. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are back next Sunday with Natalie, and she's going to be talking about parental alienation. How do we, put an end to this, to this demon? Because it's affecting many families. It's destroying lives. It is destroying children. So I encourage you to come on next Sunday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we are going to have another interesting time, with Natalie talking about shared parenting. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and have yourself a wonderful coming week. And good night.